Hey everyone, I'm Lily. Insert complaint about how I haven't been around. I know it saysn't plague time is weird, but hi, I'm Lily. I haven't been here a lot lately, and I'm sorry, but yeah. um, I hope everyone is well and staying safe and stuff like that. But yeah. I'm figuring I'd probably just take a time. I was like, you know what? I should record and get back in the habit. I'm thinking about it. It's the right time to do it. Let's just do it. No planning whatsoever. I don't have anything laid out. We have some videos in the works, but they're not like ready to go. But yeah, no. I thought I would just kind of like do a ramble-ish thing. Kind of talking about just, I don't know. Specifically, kind of just how I don't know what I've been doing in Magic lately and my kind of relationship with things and opinions that no one asked for. Just because, I don't know, Magic's kind of a lot of what I've done on the channel, and I just haven't actually made a Magic video in a while. Yeah, so, I mean, if you're gonna, because, like, a lot has happened. Like, I don't think I've done a video since, like, M21, and even so it's like been a while, and even then I don't think I did even that much with M21, which it's there, but honestly, kind of for me, a lot of my thoughts about Magic right now is just like, I don't care. Like, being apart from everyone, it's like my favorite format is Commander, and yeah, I know there's webcam Commander and things like that, and groups and things like that, but it just hasn't really been my thing lately. Just because that's about where I'm at. I'm just like I like the social aspects. That is the primary draw for me of both almost every format is the socialization. It's a big thing both like Commander, just having like me I had a few groups I was part of that we would have regular events like once a month, or other group like that's about all the couple groups I was in average have like one meetup a month where we got to play Commander and all that, and that was fun. But yeah, so it's just been kind of like without that and like not be able to draft my cube or like go out to a draft, or it's just kind of like my thoughts on Magic. It's like, yeah, I have opinions, but I don't have big enough opinions to really have them really occupy that much of my brain and what I talk and worry about for the most part, just because it's like there are bigger things in the world right now than Magic. So yeah, it's just like, it's just kind of there, and like that's where I've kind of been. I mean, I've been playing Arena, and like I enjoy Arena. Like I keep up with my dailies for the most part. And I still, with my girlfriend Miranda, we play a fair bit of Historic World together. So I keep with that, and I want to do some more videos on that. Notably, just one thing that I also just I've been wanting to do for a while, and it's finally kind of coming together, is getting a website up, both for my like kind of professional side, like here are things I've made in my both art and game dev and programming and other stuff, as well as a place to like just like put some articles and stuff about you to write. Like I've been putting off my series that I want to make on building a Commander cube, just because I wanted to have a accompanied written version, and I'm finally having a site for that can go up. It's not ready yet, but it will be at lilyharan.com. I think you can see it. It's just a WordPress site right now, but I mean, it's going to be, but I've done like no work on it so far that's actually been put to the live version. But it's technically there. But I'm getting all that together, and I'm excited about that. And on there, I mean, obviously just be the professional side of things, and for the time being some Librarian Diddle stuff, but I'm also working on putting together the actual Librarian Diddle website, because that should really be its own thing, but that'll just be linked from Lily Haran. On the Magic side of thing, I definitely want to put up do my article series on Commander Cube, and just kind of a place for those to live. But also, Miranda and I have been kind of going through our this thing where I mean, not to the extreme of like every commander, but well, not like in EDH, but kind of like a challenge if we're trying to, between the two of us, have built or at least brewed a deck, maybe not necessarily all the way tested and stuff, for every single commander available in Arena. And we've been keeping track, we've been doing this for a while and keeping track of like things and notes on the different decks and whatnot. And we were just running that on a Google site, but that isn't nearly as stable. And I feel it's just this website will be much better and give us better tools for having things like the fancy, like, okay, here's an actually formatted deck list with, you can actually see like the card images and things like that, and just having that cleaned up. So that's one thing we're planning on doing for that. Also moving over my cube stuff. I mean, I'll probably just keep the main cube list is probably to stay on Cube Cobra because that site is fantastic, but just the cube info and stuff like on the Tales and Poems and stuff like that, that's probably good. It's its own part of that way. I'm probably gonna have a whole like Liliaron/Magic then that will contain all of my Magic stuff, or maybe like a Magic.Liliaron or something like that. There's gonna be some division, and I haven't really thought of how I'm gonna be doing that yet, but it will be there. So if you want to check out that down the line, I will probably do a video when it's like, hey, this is actually up and stuff. But yeah, and this is one of those things where I might then also have a tabletop RPG section for things like a lot of my for all the worlds I've designed. I do actually have sites up for, I have these actually guides of like the world building and things like that, that you can like move those over there. So if you want all of like, you know, the information I have on the Elmwinds and generic RPG and things like that, just to have those there, both as like kind of a portfolio thing, like here's things I've written and designed, and also like here's that. And also like when I do the reboot of my D&D basic series, kind of like when I do those videos, I actually have some like a write-up, and actually formatting those write-ups into like nicer articles. So because I know for a lot of people, for a lot of information-based things, having the written version is better, especially if you're going back and wanting to reference things. Like I'll probably hit on a lot of the same points as videos, but you know, people like things in different ways, and yeah, it's a little bit more work, but at the end of the day, a lot of the thinking is the same either way. And I'm already doing these write-ups anyway, for some of the more videos I plan out. It's not like a full script or anything. Me write a script? Never. What? That means I'd have to like stick to a script and then I might have to like edit? That is disgusting. I don't want to do that whatsoever. Ew. So that's been going there. I mean, that's not really magic, that's really magic related, but there will be also magic stuff on that once it's ready to go. And so on that front, I also might do some things like breakdowns with some more humorous things for like all my rankings and things like that. Yeah, and also I might actually have some article only stuff for stuff that doesn't necessarily need a full video or would be kind of a pain. I might do like some like strip brawl set reviews and things like that over there on that. Once that is up and running, I just gotta sit down and like work through it, because I'm not super familiar with the API for WordPress. Like the last time I built a website that wasn't like a Google site, was like high school, and at that I was like just essentially running with direct HTML or like at best like Dreamweaver. So it's like I'm not super familiar with the more recent stuff. But I just gotta sit down and learn it. It's not an issue, it's just I gotta do it, and effort. But yeah, so that's Lily, stop fidgeting, you're on a video, you don't need to fidget. Hi. I've been my amount of fidgeting I do these days has just escalated the longer this pandemic is going on, because I am very stressed, just constantly about everything. Oh boy. But yeah, magic wise, so that's going on. So I definitely want to get that series on building Commander Cube, especially with Commander Legends coming out. Actually, despite not playing Magic that much, I have this huge block of like cards that I need to move into my cube, and Miranda has some stuff that she, just like random like bulk and stuff that I needed to, that she had laying around that I'm like, hey, I could use that for my cube. And so it's like, I have so much need to move on to it. And honestly, part of my How to Build a Commander Cube series, I might actually include just kind of revamping the cube altogether, because I think not that I want to work from scratch, I think I want the interest of the initial conceits of the cube I like, and I don't want to change kind of the, okay, focusing on the 3 and 4 color decks, everything is partner, which I am kind of like, I don't know, I mean, it's not quite what Commander Legends has done, but I'm like, I did that first. But in terms of just kind of like having this high emphasis on partner commanders, and part of me kind of does want to simplify things and like switch out like the Commanders of Change just for a stack of Prismatic Pipers, just because it makes it easier. But I am kind of holding out on making that series until we have the full Commander Legends spoilers, which is soon. So I've been kind of waiting for that. And then also I like the tales and poems and stuff like that, but the actual draft itself, I kind of want to revamp and like revisit the card pool and kind of just rebuild it from scratch, and kind of just like, there's a lot of just incomplete cycles that I meant to finish but never did, and just kind of really breaking down what is in the cube and what I need to kind of getting those iterations, and also going through all the tales and poems and kind of like, okay, let's balance these, let's get these, what do we need to improve them, and get a better codified wish list for the cube and stuff like that. Just some general maintenance stuff, because like it was very tight like 2 years ago when I made it, and it's kind of worn out a little bit over time, and I need to fix that. It wasn't 2 years ago I made it. I guess it, I mean, yeah, it was like 2 years ago and I made it. No, I mean, it was like shortly after Guilds of Ravnica, so yeah, it was about 2 years ago. Time flies. But yeah, so that's kind of where I went with the cube and whatnot. Just my, like, commander decks, I mean, I just haven't touched them, just because I'm like, before the pandemic began, I was like gearing up to like actually build like Twilight Sparkle, and I just haven't done that, and I don't even know what I want to do with that. I still want to build Twilight Sparkle because I love My Little Pony so much. Hi, I don't talk about it much, but I really like ponies. But how do you say words? Ponies. But I just haven't touched my decks. Like, I mean, I like my Absent Life Game deck. I think honestly I probably should be like, okay, let's take a long hard look at all my decks and kind of refit stuff. I mean, my Selesnya matter. I like only Selesnya deck. I mean, there's a few cheap things I need to add in there. And there's some stuff that are like, this is a wishlist item because I would love to have the Comic-Con Ronus, which technically fits the restriction of the deck, but it's like $60. So I haven't gotten it, but I've been I need to kind of revisit those. And like my human stack, like with Ikoria, I'm kind of like, I've been thinking about, do I want to move this into like 4 color, or maybe like Abzan to include like Kudro and some of the stuff there. And I'm just like, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. Actually, I had some Amazon money because my birthday was a few days ago on the 10th, and I picked up the new decks because, I mean, like, I know I like prefer to support my local game store, but it was like, it was $30 for the Zendikar Rising decks, and I'm like, sure. I don't know what else I'm gonna spend. Otherwise, I'm gonna spend this money on a Chai mix. So I was like, why not? But yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's just what comes down to it. So it's just like, there's these things and like lots of things I think like I need to do this, but it's like, it's no rush. It's like, it's long before I'll be able to play Magic with people I, like my friends and whatnot. So it's like, I'm kind of like, who cares? So that's kind of where I've been at, in that front. And it's like, if you go to like the hot topic like issues lately, it's just like, okay, my opinion on the Walking Dead stuff, and I'm like, I'm not a big fan of the crossovers. I'm not even a big fan of like the whole Forgotten Realms crossover. But you know what? It happens, and I think, oh boy, people have blown this out of proportion where it's just like, eh. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, like, I would definitely prefer if they actually had the flavor names, but since they have, a lot of my problems with them have been quelled since the fact being like, hey, we are treating these like flavor names, and we'll probably reprint them down the line, and to that, I'm just like, no, that's fine. I don't care. I'd prefer if you printed them first, but you know what? All right. Am I a little annoyed that like one of the best human lords is in it? I mean, yeah, but at the same time, I cannot bring myself to care. I mean, the worst part of it, I think is that this whole debacle made me agree with the rules committee and be like, oh, with the whole cries of like, oh, we should ban these cards on Commander to show what's the message, and I'm like, no, the rules committee shouldn't do that. That's a terrible idea. Both from I don't believe they should be banned, just from a perspective, like, if people want to play with them, let them play with them, and, like, trying to stick it to a corporation. It's like, I mean, I'm vehemently anti-capitalist in general, but it's like, that's not gonna do anything. All you're doing is, I know, kind of, like, hurting the people who want to play with them, like, and it's like, from the rules committee standpoint, it's like, that's a very fast way to not, to lose their position. So that's there. But at the same time, it's like, I don't care enough. Like, I just don't care at all. Okay, not at all, but it's like so little, and so compared to things like the election, everything else going on in the world, it doesn't really matter that much to me. That's kind of where I'm at. I mean, and then even then, when like other issues within like Commander and Magic and stuff like that, it's like, I mean, in Magic as a whole, in terms of relations with Wizards, it's like, you know, I would take a million of these if they were, like, I don't know, have canon, like, actual, like, queer rep, like, in their main cast, not sidelined to the background. Actually make good on their queer baiting and things like that, and actually having better hiring practices at Wizards, which we haven't really seen the fruits of their promises or anything, and yeah. And then if you go in the rules committee, like the commander things, like it's like, where's your planeswalkers as commanders? Like, I'm still pretty strongly about that. But even then on that one, it's just like, I don't have anything I would actually directly want to play right now that would want to play as Planeswalkers Commander, so it's like, it doesn't affect me immediately. And honestly, I think that, for in terms of that topic, that's honestly a win, not an if. I think eventually it will give out. Yeah, I'm just like, I don't care. I really just don't. Goodness. But no, I mean, I've been playing Arena, and, you know, it's fine. It scratches, like, my mechanical itch, and I like being able to play with my girlfriend and do that. But, I mean, it's fine. I mean, like, I'm not a big standard person, but I like limited enough. I really enjoyed Amonkhet. I didn't play as much Amonkhet as I wanted to, but Amonkhet Remastered I did enjoy, and I'm looking forward to Kaladesh Remastered. I mean, I prefer just straight Kaladesh, because Triple Kaladesh is probably my favorite standard draft format. You know, I'm fine with Kaladesh Remastered, and I'm looking forward to having, like, Panharmonicon and Metallic Mimic on Arena for Star Brawl, so I'm excited for that. Zendikar Rising Limited seems, it's fine. It's a draft format. I don't hate it. I don't love it. Highly recommend. My top draft tip for Zendikar Rising is draft Scoot Swarm. Oh boy, it's dumb. It's real dumb, and I've done it a few times now. My pick to you. My recommendation in M21 was draft Baneslayer Angel, and now it's draft Scoot Swarm, which is, I think it's a more chain Wolfgang. It's just open a chase, not a chase rare, but like a bomb rare, and you'll be good. So that's my recommendation for my Zendikar Rising is just open suit swarm. But yeah, so I've just been kind of like, eh. I've enjoyed it. Like, I mean, I've really enjoyed Jumpstart and things like that, but oh boy, especially as like I've grown as like a game design developer and specifically getting to very much know Unity's tools, how rough the client is in Arena is starting to really bother me. And I actually have a full video idea for kind of just going through and pointing out a lot of this stuff. Is that Arena has a very solid, once you're in a match, I think, yeah, there's a few quirks and issues and stuff like that. Like, please give us an alternate hand system for, like, I don't know, when we have 50 cards in our hand, because, oh boy, does that annoy things. But everything outside of that feels so lazy. Like, not so much, oh, the lazy is not the right word. I mean, these things take hard, but it's just so entirely adequate. It functions kind of technically, and there's so much that they're just not employing. It's in terms of the actual, like, it's like, hey, they've been talking about the play blade rework for months and months and months now. That's when you click play and it opens up, it's a blade that opens up and has that, and it's kind of unreadable, and like it was fine like when it was introduced and there was only like a handful of formats you could see them all at once, but now it's very cluttered, and it's like, you're reworking that. How long have you been working on? Like, how many UI people do you have working on it? I mean, I know it's not an issue of like throwing more people at it. I mean, that's the truth of game dev, is you can't just hire more developers and throw them at a project. You get diminishing returns significantly, especially when you're looking on the same area, and things like that. But it's like, how long has this been? Like, this has been a while. Like, what's going on? But then, like, there's just like things with the and like something like some issues, things like with like the collection manager and like combining cards of like the same type and like things like that. Like, okay, yeah, those are a little bit more complex issues, but it's just overall, it just feels like there's so much potential in this whole area outside the game that they're just not using. Even some things like having an in-game calendar, having like, we have stories again. Why aren't those being linked to things? Why can't you say access them directly through that client? What is this client? I feel like increasingly Arena, especially in 2020, is kind of the nexus of what people play Magic on. The Splashgame Arena, like, I get it for having the simplified version for when you have a new player and having to enable it and things like that. But honestly, it should honestly be this nexus of almost everything about it. Like, it should have the I don't know, an active feed of like the latest articles on like the Magic side and things like that, and like kind of directing, like being able to being like this, that Magic is this bigger ecosystem, because Arena is very just tunnel visioned on being like, this is how you get from everything outside of the actual gameplay itself is just, let's get you back into gameplay. And yeah, I get the point of that, but there's just so much more you could be doing to make that experience better. And it's, I don't know, and this isn't great, and I actually have a video here to make it, to illustrating what I want to talk about, but there's so many aspects of it that is just like, what are you doing with this? Like, are all of your resources really just going into, like, I get it, most of your resources should probably go into the, I don't know, the primary gameplay, but I feel like you should have a little bit more focus on everything outside of the gameplay itself. I don't, just give me like weird achievements to go for, or like incorporate the story a little bit, like give something like that, or yeah, I don't know, it's just, I mean, it just comes back to what I said. Everything about it feels just perfectly adequate and nothing more. And a bunch of little tiny visual details, or like things that are like slightly layered too wrong, or have the wrong graphic, or have like the wrong overlays that get like enabled like on buttons and stuff. Like things that like I know exactly the setting that they have wrong because it's like, I mean, it's just standard Unity like components and stuff like that, but it's just like, this would be a 2-second fix, but also your bug report system is so asinine to use that I'm not gonna bother. Why is your bug report system not baked into the client? Like, seriously. I don't want to have to go to an external, like click the report an issue, go to an external website, go through a bunch of a really kind of janky system, which sometimes will just delete what you write and you have to re-enter it, or we'll try to direct you and be like, do you actually mean this? And I get that, yes, a lot of people do stuff, but it's like, I just want to be actually legitimately help you and tell you that, like, hey, you know that thing where, like, if you go to the deck viewer and like you have the filters, you have like the, okay, here's like the set list and things like that. When you actually first implemented this new version, you had it so it was actually squared ones for all of them, but then the last one had a rounded bottom, which is cool and it looked nice. But then you just added another random bottom and another rounded bottom, and so you have this, okay, square because it's supposed to be look like actually like a whole block, and then they're slightly separated each button. I'm not explaining this well, but they just added the capstone ones after that, and it really bugs me. But what bugs me more is that some of them have the wrong overlay, because when you click them, they kind of like light up and they give that orange look. You get that orange overlay, and there's 2 separate ones, one for the square one and one for the rounded one. Some of the square ones uses the rounded overlays and vice versa. And it shouldn't bug me as much as it did, but it's like one of those details that once I've noticed, I can't unnotice it, and I'm just like, but I also cannot be bothered to actually go through their entirely awful bug report system to actually deal with it. I've been ranting about this for too long, but yeah, so that's there. So like Arena, like I enjoy for what it is, but it's just, it could be so much more. And it's also one of those things that it's so many games, you can look at the game and know when the developers have like passion for it and actually care about the game and are able to translate that passion. Magic itself has that in a lot of its products and things like that. You can tell that like R&D cares about their stuff. Like you see it, like you see it, especially like if you hear a lot of the people in R&D talk about it and things like that. And yes, there are issues and things like that, but you can tell that people care about this. Arena, however, that's where it comes from. That's entirely adequate. And I'm not coming from the perspective of like, oh, the devs should be putting more of themselves into it and working overtime and rah, 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 rah. But it's, for one reason or the other, it is the bare minimum of what needs to be accomplished to make the game work. And it would honestly be exceedingly mediocre if Magic wasn't already as solid a game as it is. And yeah, so okay, end of Arena rant. Yeah, car. I am not editing that out because I cannot be bothered. Yep. But yeah, so I've been just kind of like on that front, and it's like things coming up. It's like I haven't played any, like, I only had a pre-release kit because it's like for like Ikoria, because I don't know, my girlfriend like got me one and did that, but it's just like I didn't go out of my way for it, and I haven't been to an event since like the Theros pre-release, and I don't know, it's like Commander Legends. I was stoked for Commander Legends, but it's like I'm not gonna be able to play Commander Legends, and I don't really want to just buy sealed product, and it's like, well, I pick up some cheap Sankles and stuff like that, but it's like that's a lot less exciting. Like, I'll be exciting during preview season, but just for the concepts of them, not because I'm gonna get it, because I can't justify it now these days. It's like it's not like I'm gonna like be able to go to an event and be able to like just like play some Commander Legends draft, or like get a box and like crack it with friends and play things like Heya. And it's like, also just I can't really justify the cost to like be like, I'm gonna get a box, and like, it's for a video, and I'm just justifying it to crack a box. But I'm just like, for what? I mean, like, for my cube that I don't play with anyone right now, or for my computer decks, which I don't play with anyone right now, which just kind of leads me to be like, like Strixhaven, like in terms of their sets here, like Strixhaven, well, that'll be, well, no, this is spring of Cowl Time. Except for Cowl Time, it'll be neat. I want more details, of course. Strixhaven is, I mean, I'm interested in it. I mean, it's one of those aesthetics that I do like. Words mean things. I don't know. I mean, it's clearly like the Harry Potter plane and insert everything surrounding that about and whatnot. But it's one of those things where it's like, I enjoyed it as a kid, but I was surrounded by a family who loves Harry Potter. So it's just like, I enjoyed it decently enough, but it's just like, I never felt like I really liked it because of all the people I was around who really liked it. But I enjoyed the aesthetic enough, and I don't know. That's all I have to say about that. I mean, the Forgotten Realms stuff, I'm just like, I'm not a big Forgotten Realms person. Make it Dragonlance, and I'm down. But Forgotten Realms, I'm like, fine. Like, hell, make it Eberron, and I'm like really down for that. But it's, if they were going to do a D&D themed world, I would have, like, I mean, we already kind of have Zendikar, and it's kind of weird because they really pushed it, but I would kind of prefer almost the very generic D&D setting they have in the books, where which is kind of, it's like Forgotten Realms adjacent, but like not quite. Like, instead of, because it's like, I don't need an Elminster card. I really don't. We're gonna get one, but I don't need it. But with Forgotten Realms stuff, there's like, it's fine. It's like Forgotten Realms is okay and very problematic in a lot of aspects of it. But I would prefer like this very generic D&D setting where it's like, you have like the classic like Pelors and Neurals and all that, and the standard like kind of D&D thing you find in the D&D books. And like, if you want to have references to characters, you can go back, I don't know, to the classics of like Tizdak and all the other, like, I don't know, I mean, granted, probably won't use those, but I mean, for anyone who grew up on 3rd and 3.5, like, they had the standard cast. And I mean, 5th edition doesn't really have that as much. And I mean, granted, 5th edition has leaned in much harder into Forgotten Realms as the default setting instead of having its own thing. I mean, you see in the books things, it's like Volo and Xantar are characters within Forgotten Realms and stuff like that. And I mean, I guess because they have to choose someone's thing, sure, some setting, but it's like, I would have preferred that generic D&D setting to specifically Forgotten Realms, because the generic D&D settings lets them take a lot more liberties, whereas Forgotten Realms is very clear and specifically what it is. So it's like, that's kind of where I'm at on that. But yeah, so the and then Innistrad I am very excited about. I am very excited about Innistrad because I love Innistrad, I love human travel, and I love Arlencord, and since we're having one that's specifically about werewolves, that's almost assuredly more Arlencord, and I adore Arlencord. I could probably do a whole like hour video on why I love Arlencord. But yeah, I mean, nowadays I would probably have to name Arlencord as my favorite character in all of Magic. Just based on her story alone, and we only have 2 stories about her, but it's just like, it hits. As a queer person who grew up in the Catholic Church, oh boy, does her story hit exactly head on. So that's specifically a queer person who grew up in the Catholic Church who loved the church. That is like the specific thing where it's like, it is a very different, like, there are 2 kind of very different experiences. The queer person who grew up in the church who resented the church and was like that, and the person who was really into the, like, really involved and ingrained in that. And Arlen's story is the latter. Granted, she's queer for lycanthropy and the Catholic Church for the Church of Afghanistan, but oh boy, it is very exact. Yeah. Where am I gonna? But it's like, so I'm excited about that coming down the road. And actually can talk about stuff now because it's like, it's for the most part, it's because I've done some testing for wizards in the past and like market research and whatnot, and I'm currently at a point where I don't know anything that hasn't been announced yet, and that is fantastic. I'm good. I don't have to like hide and be like, yes, I don't know that we're going back to Zendikar. Why would I know that? Ooh, 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 ooh. But I don't know about the party mechanic like years ago. But yeah, so it's like, I can actually talk about it and speculate and stuff like that, like freely again, because it's all been out there. Yeah. So that's where I am. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with this. Like, it was just kind of like doing me like, hey, I'm gonna get in front of camera, I'm gonna make a video. Let's talk about magic and kind of where I'm at with all of magic stuff. Excuse me. I still need to actually finish the new story, the Zendikar stories. I mean, I'm just haven't gotten around to it. I actually haven't even read the Ikoria novel yet. Which I want to do because I really enjoyed the Wildred quest for Eldraine. I really like that. And I just gotta catch up. I just haven't gotten around to it because I haven't had to commute anywhere, and like that's usually what I'd like read and stuff like that when I was like, I don't know, on the bus to like Glasser or something like that, and it's just like, I have not left my neighborhood since like over a month, and even then I don't think I've left this house apart from taking out the trash a few days ago, like, and like once a week, or like to get the mail. Like I haven't gone for a walk in like a month probably. I know that's not good, but it was really hot, and now it's been normal Seattle. Actually, it hasn't been normal Seattle, it's just been like actually like kind of really stormy and stuff. It was actually kind of raining a few days ago. We just kept getting like, the internet's been on and off all the time, and we lost power for a while, and then we lost it again, and yeah. But I just figured I'd, I don't know, get a video in, and talk about that. I hope you're all doing well. Yeah. I don't have much more to say. I'm doing alright. Go heading out of town soonish to, in a little bit to, at the end of the month to, spend a couple weeks up in the mountains with my girlfriend, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. Just, I don't know. We have like a condo and stuff that we're renting at, and just gonna be like, okay, we're gonna hole ourselves up in the mountains for a couple weeks and, I don't know, just be together, which is gonna be really nice. I miss her so much. But yeah, well, that's all I have to say. I hope you all have a wonderful night, or whatever time of day it is. This isn't really explicitly an ASMR video. Am I gonna make more videos? I mean, eventually, probably. What kind of time frame? Question mark. I'm not making any promises. I don't even know. My energy has been really weird ever since, and yeah. My brain level's going well, but I don't really have much else to say right now. I mean, just been working through pre-alpha 3. It's a bit more slow going than I'd like, but get through it nonetheless. Well, I hope you all have a wonderful night, and all have wonderful dreams. Or if it's in the middle of the day and take a nap, I hope you have wonderful dreams. And may your story smile upon you.